And we want to think that man's way is mandate and God's way is optional. What does man's way mean? That means go to school, get your degree, get a job, to the exclusion of loving that which is beating your heart and breathing you with your whole body, heart, mind, with all of your might, consciously caring to honor and glorify the lineages through whom you've come.
Welcome back to Women of Tomorrow. If you are new here, thank you so much for taking the time to stop and click on this video. Women of Tomorrow is a platform dedicated to the success and longevity of women all over the world. If that sounds like you, please take a moment to like, comment, and subscribe. Adama, thank you.
Thank
so
you,
much
Kayla.
For being here.
Thank you for having me.
I'm a little nervous.
It's all right.
You know, I know this is going to be so powerful. Every time that I've come to visit you at your space, you always make me cry. I mean, you don't make me cry, but I always end up crying.
Okay.
Because, I don't know, it's just so powerful, your message. And it just always feels like it's something that I need to hear. Mm-hmm. I don't know why the tears come. Maybe the tears come because I know I need to do better, or the tears come because, you know, the power and the spirit that you're speaking with is very, very, very rare in around me. I don't hear it spoken in the conviction that you speak. Mm-hmm. I found you on YouTube probably over a year ago. Okay. From a viral video, and you were just I casually came about, and you were I don't know exactly what it was titled. Do you remember what the title of that video is?
I think it was the Vegan Linked.
Yes.
The Vegan Link, vegan since 1978.
Yes,
this gets deep.
Yes,
right.
yes. Mm-hmm. And you were just like laying it out about, you know, what is going on in society right now. And for me, with Women of Tomorrow, and Diego was just asking me about, like, you know, the different guests that I like to have on, and the reason why I choose people, and what am I open to. And I just was telling him that my message, I want to help put out a message that helps women and all people that it trickles on to think about their wellness, mm-hmm. and not just the way society might tell you what wellness is, or success, right. or security, and things like that. And I wanted to have you on for a while. I was a little intimidated because I'm still kind of learning the digital space, mm-hmm. This wellness space, and having a voice out here on the internet, and all the different censoring and the things that come along with it. And I wanted to make sure that, I guess I wanted to try to safeguard. And then I called you and I said, I don't know if I said, I'm scared or I'm nervous.
All right.
And you were like, well, there ain't no time to be scared now. Like, right. This is a calling. This is what, you know, you say you're about. And so this is an opportunity for you to really live in that. And I know this will be a conversation unlike anyone I've ever had in this setting. And I'm so grateful that I know you, that I found out about you. I'm grateful for you for doing everything that you do. And so I'm just happy to be here, and I'm happy you're here.
And I'm happy to be here. I try to show up where I'm asked, because everybody ain't asking.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So those who do ask, I definitely try to apply myself to being present.
Yes.
The issue for us as women is realizing that under a global initiative of depopulation and genocide, the intention is to phase our lineages out of existence. Mm. Each generation has been assaulted with more chemicals, more poison, more foolishness, more of that which literally compromises not only their longevity, but the integrity with which they're able to think and take personal responsibility for how they live. Mm. All right. So to speak to sisters from the blackest black to the lightest light, all over the planet, we're having to realize, one, we never had to be licensed, certified, degreed, or religiously indoctrinated and miseducated to be women. But going through that process, that we are ministers and preachers and pastors and teachers and business women, and we are in every echelon of society, but we're maintaining the system of oppression. That's what our education, our religious indoctrination, our degreeing has allowed us to participate as some of the profiteers from the marginalization, the anesthetization, the inebriation, the intoxication, the violation, the subjugation, the domination of everybody in society.
Yeah.
Now, to have a system in place that has instituted oppression systemically means that there is no success that you can possibly have if you've never come to the place and space within yourself where you have not asked and seek to understand the purpose in being on the planet.
That goes back to you're saying just knowing who you are and why you're here.
And where we are in the presence of this absolute and supreme intelligence that people refer to as God, that I'm referring to as the intelligence of existence that is all there is as existence itself. So the earth is as big as a period at the end of a sentence in relationship to the eternity in which we're in. All right? But when people talk about where they are, they say, oh, well, we're in Babylon. Oh, well, we're in the belly of the beast. Oh, well, we're in America. And I'm saying, no, we are actually in the presence of this absolute and supreme intelligence that is beginningless, endless, infinite, and eternal.
Break it down, please, Adama, because you speak with so much intention. And before we even get there, I want people to know, how long have you, I kind of want to back up and know like your story, like how long have you been in this place, this type of work? Because I know you're friends with the greats in this space, so you've been here for, you're right along with all the greats.
I have been, from the time I was a child, I knew something was wrong in the world.
And how did you know? Tell me that.
I just knew. I was in Detroit.
You were in Detroit.
Okay, so the Motor City, down the street from David Ruffin and the Temptations with his girlfriend wrestling on the grass, seeing Smokey Robinson at the Dairy Queen. I'm just saying, Fox Theater and the Supremes and all of that. So I grew up in Motown frequency, but when Dr. King was assassinated and Detroit was on fire, I was 10. All right, and it was indelibly impressed upon my psyche. All right, but I knew even before then that something was wrong because I wasn't aware, or I'll say this: the pediatric cardiologist who saved my life as a child was dead 2 years after my open heart surgery.
Wow.
All right. So my first experience as a 6-year-old, seeing a woman who had saved my life in her casket, and I'm trying to figure out, what is this death thing? And so my childhood was literally permeated with my trying to figure this out.
Got it.
And nobody was answering any questions.
They didn't have the answers.
You're 6, okay?
They're not even listening to the question.
Wait, it'll come. That's what they say. It'll come.
Yeah.
But no, nobody was trying to get me to understand any of it in truth, right? And so by 7, I didn't want to eat meat. I was throwing my parents' cigarettes away, their alcohol away. By 10, Detroit was on fire. Big military tanks. I mean, the tanks with the huge things rolling down the street. The city was on fire. And so I made a conscious decision to be in consistent communication with God from the time I was a little girl. So I've always been a prayer person, praying. asking,
Is the
knocking,
prayer
seeking.
traditional, like get down on your knees and pray, or
Well,
how did you
that's
develop?
how I was taught.
Yeah.
That's how I was taught. But after a while, it's like wherever you be, however you be, you start. You
Yeah.
just start. You know, on the way here, I'm in prayer. When I'm waking up, I'm in prayer.
Yeah.
When I'm doing my protocols, I'm in prayer. So the praying is just a consistent communication and acknowledgement of the presence of that which is beating our hearts and breathing us. So there are certain things that we learned from the time we were very little, whether we went to church or not, we've heard it, right? And we heard, thou shalt love thy mother, father, creator God, thy Lord, with your whole body, heart, mind, with all of your might. You heard that, right?
Yeah.
Right, I heard that too. I also heard, these things I do, you can do also and even greater things. You heard that?
Yeah.
I heard, ye who believe on me shall have eternal life. You remember that?
Yes.
Right. You remember?
Yeah.
Thou shalt honor thy mother and father. Thou shalt love thy neighbors as you love yourself. You remember that?
Yes.
Right. So I'm just saying, we've heard all of this, but do we see the evidence of it? All right. And so from the time, so being very young and having an inquisitive mind after being saved through major open heart surgery, being hit by cars at 10, again, drowning in the Atlantic Ocean at 14, being hit by another car at 16. You understand? But there were commitments my mother made for me at 4. Let my baby live, and I promise you she'll live to do your work. You understand? So this is the power that we have as women. This is the power that we have as mothers. This is the power we have as these points of the presence of this absolute and supreme intelligence, but we have not been supported in living a committed and convicted life to life itself.
I have a question about that. The supreme intelligence that most refer to as God. What do you think the disconnect is from people? Because I feel like people are just looking at God as, a man coming down, saving for heaven or hell later. And it keeps them from activating in the now.
Well, the primary disregard or the disconnect is that the blood has been defiled.
The actual blood.
So the spirit that we each are in these bodies. And so it matters that we have a more realistic perspective of where we are in the presence of an absolute and supreme intelligence that is beginningless, endless, infinite, and eternal. We're on a planet that is 80% water spinning in eternity, right? But we've come into this realm through the sacred fluid of our mother's womb, sparked by the sacred fluid of our fathers, but then we got no support in respecting the sanctity, the sacredness, and the divinity of being. But to be under a system of oppression that feeds us the carcasses of dead animals, dead pigs and cows and turkeys and chicken and fish and crayfish and lobster and crab and whatnot, and then make us think that eating death is going to be somehow healthy. Drinking the body fluids of another creature, the cow's milk, or having the bacteria added to the milk and it curds and sours and it becomes cheese, which hardens and recoagulates and then builds around the walls of the 100,000 miles of blood vessels, capillaries, veins, and arteries. All right, so our oppression, our disconnect from walking in the fullness and having a full realization, or the real I in us truly being activated, so that we see the oneness of existence and that we are respectful of the harmony of the whole of existence, is because our blood has been polluted with the flesh of dead animals, the aborted fetuses of chickens, the pus and mucus of cows, artificially colored, artificially flavored, NutraSweet, aspartame, carbonated beverages, all of the FD and C colorings and whatnot that were in the Kool-Aid, the Powerade, the Gatorade, all of this laying foundation for the acquired immune deficiency syndrome that they call AIDS, because we were never properly nourished as intelligences of existence that were female, born with all the eggs we'll ever have, as the perpetuator of lineages, or males,
So from the
the
very beginning.
progenitor of lineages. All right, so it has always been known that becoming man or female and male in our mother's womb, that destiny was becoming women and men. Mothers and fathers, grandmothers, grandfathers, great-grandmothers, great-grandfathers, great-great-great-grandmothers, great-great-great-grandfathers. And as sons and daughters, we're granddaughters and grandsons, great-granddaughters, great-grandsons, great-great-great-granddaughters, great-great-great-grandsons. So, no, we are the bridge between those through whom we've come, those who are with us, those who've come through us, and those who've yet to come. So, purpose in being upon the planet is to ensure the continuation and the perpetuation and the exaltation and the enhancement and the progression of our lineages. But who got that? Did the education give us that?
Absolutely not.
Did our religious training give us that?
No.
So this is where, and then we're being fed like beasts in the field. And then on top of the meat, the dairy, the eggs, the chicken, the fish, then you have the pancakes, the waffles, the breads, the biscuits, the croissants, the donuts, the pastas, the pastries. Flour and water make paste.
Yeah.
That's what we did our paper mache with when we go to school in second grade, right? So now everybody's body is full with all of this paste. That's called mucus. And that paste is binding the nitrates, nitrites, BHA, BHT, artificial colors, artificial flavors, all of the behavior modifying chemicals.
Behavior modifying.
That they have modified our behavior. How do we know that our behavior has been modified? Is because we are not doing what all other intelligent creatures do, which is to exalt a full effort in our living. Know their food, excrete their waste. Know their kind, perpetuate themselves, and be able to respond when they sense that their lives are being threatened. We, on the other hand,
As humans.
are feeling entitled to be doing that which undermines our cellular functioning.
What do you say when people are like, you only live once, or everything, this is a big one, everything in moderation? Because, I mean, this is what we're up against.
Well,
these kind of
exactly,
conversations, these kind of comments.
But the issue is this. We were told, thou shalt love thy mother, father, creator, God, thy Lord, which is that which is beating your heart, breathing you, perfectly and divinely designed you with your whole body, heart, mind, with all of your might. Okay, we want to kick that to the curb, and we want to think that man's way is mandate and God's way is optional. What does man's way mean? That means go to school, get your college, get your degree, get a job, file your taxes. You understand? Do what people do. To the exclusion of loving that which is beating your heart and breathing you with your whole body, heart, mind, with all of your might. Consciously caring to honor and glorify the lineages through whom you've come. When we look at pictures, for those who have pictures of their grandparents, great-grandparents, great-great-great-grandparents, you don't see them with the legs wide open and cigarettes and stuff falling from their lips and their pants sagging and this and that. You see an intensity in their eyes that transcends 150 years on Kodak paper of the intensity of what they endured. My grandmother was born in 1899. She was a Spelman College graduate. Her sister, who I was named after, Arnetto, she was a Spelman College graduate. All of her brothers graduated from Morehouse. You understand? So that generation that exalted education, and that's what we were told, get your education, get your education, get your education. The education was supposed to give us some parity. The education was to help us come up out of being treated like garbage for all intensive purposes.
Yeah.
You understand? So as a child watching the March on Washington, everything in me went like this. This is before the assassination. I knew I should be progression of us as a people. I knew that we should all be progression of us as a people. 40 years to the day later, I'm in Dr. King's house serving Coretta Scott King. I said, Mrs. King, I was a child watching that march on Washington. And no one can really estimate your sacrifices or know any of what you have internalized as a result of any of this. But I guarantee you that I am going to be progression of that. Now, we would be in a totally different place if you all had asked the right question. She said, what question is that? What makes a people feel entitled to capture you, enslave you, beat you, rape you, hang you, sodomize you, cut your pregnant bellies open? They're still cutting our pregnant bellies open. Castrate you, set you afire, declare that we have no rights, that they have the responsibility to respect. But then they needed us. The whole economy is based upon us. She said, what makes them that way? Because their blood burns hot with the rot of pigs and cows and turkey and chicken and hen and fish and crayfish and lobster and crab and monkey brain and whatever else they're eating all over the planet in violation of the primary law of existence that says, thou shalt not kill. If thou shalt not kill, then thou shalt not eat of the flesh of that which has been killed.
And that's where, no, I'm all with you. I want to help get some clarity on like the fact that there seems to be, and I haven't read the Bible. I read some stuff and heard some stuff in class, Sabbath school. There seems to be so many contradicting messages in the Bible, because the minute you say something like that, someone's coming back with, well, this person ate in the Bible, they ate this, and they, we were brought to, like, we were kings and that kind of thing. Like, how do we get through to people when there is, I guess, different interpretations or?
Well, the issue is this for me.
Okay.
Kayla. We were told to know the truth, and the truth would make us free. All right? We were told to love God, that which is beating our hearts and breathing us, that which is perfectly and divinely designed us, that which is the animating spirit of all orders of existence, with our whole body, heart, mind, with all of our might. We weren't told to love a book more than we love our body. You understand? We weren't told to love your cigarettes more than you love your lungs. You understand? Love your reefer more than you love your lungs. Love your alcohol more than you love your bloodstream. I'm just saying is that at this particular point in time, we need to realize that the laws that govern existence came so far before the Bible.
Yeah.
That the Bible cannot excuse us or absolve us of our duty, obligation, and responsibility to be knocking, asking, seeking for the truth when we see that there is something seriously wrong in our realm, where our parents are dying from cancer, heart disease, diabetes, dialysis, all of this. So no, we are in the midst of a sea of sickness, illness, and disease. We are being herded like cash cows in multi-trillion-dollar business of sickness, illness, disease, and death.
Yeah.
The Bible is not a requisite for being qualified for continuance in existence. Our care to know and to respond correctly
To respond
to
correctly.
what is needed in our now moment.
We've lost the ability or the wisdom to be able to respond correctly.
We are feeling entitled to be killing ourselves.
Yeah.
We feel as though God has given us the free will to do whatever the hell we want to do, damn anything and anybody that gets in the way of it, because that's our free will. And I'm saying, no, the intelligence of existence gave you so much of itself. And it gave us absolute law. But we didn't get supported in understanding law. We've
Yeah.
been socialized, religiously indoctrinated, miseducated by a lawless people who have instituted killing as fun and game and sport and the foundation of profiting from oppressing, marginalizing, anesthetizing, inebriating, intoxicating masses of people to make themselves seem superior. But then the profits are rolling in. Now, everybody has been gifted life. There is no greater gift than life itself. Everybody has it. But everybody has not made commitments to it or for their lives. If everybody who has life had made commitments to life for their lives, then the corporate deities of death, the meat, the dairy, the eggs, the chicken, the fish, the alcohol, tobacco, and sugar industry could not exist. If everybody who had life
Yeah.
was committed to living.
Yeah.
We could be committed to our education and not be committed to living. We could be committed to having money and not be committed to living. We could be committed to a lifestyle without being committed to that which beats our hearts and breathes us.
Yeah.
So the cleanliness of the blood is a foundation. So from the time I was 7, I wasn't given the out to not eat meat until I changed my diet in college. All right. But the God that is in us can be oppressed. But once there is a conscious intention to knock and ask and seek and know, that activation of our spirit is greater than the influence of the behavior modifiers that are in our tissues. But it has to be activated.
What happened in college that changed your diet for you?
The sociology courses that said 20,000 Black Americans are dying every year from sugar diabetes. Another 15,000 are dying every year from complications from obesity. Another 12,000 are dying from cancer to lung. Another 8,000 from cancer to pancreas. Another 6,000 from da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Then by the time you factor in our single-headed households, our divorce rate, our teenage pregnancies, our abortion rate, our quote-unquote illegitimate children, our incarceration, our juvenile delinquency, on top of the disproportionate percentage of us who have this, and this. So my head begins to spin.
And this was what year?
This was 1978. University of Florida junior, psychology major. Right? And so when I ask the questions, what's the cause and what's the cure? And they say, we don't have a cause, we don't know the cure, but because of affirmative action, you're a double minority. You're both black and female. You can get paid for doing the research. And that was just piss poor and pathetic for me because I didn't really go to college just so that I can do research. I went to college because my mother made me. I didn't really think that college was going to make me. Right? I never had that thought.
Yeah.
All right. But I've always known that I should be progression. So that if college is not preparing me properly, if I'm not getting any insight, if I'm not getting any support in knowing what it are the issues that are creating this disproportionate percentage of us who are impacted and affected by all of these things. But then instead of being supported in thinking that, well, the more education we have, the greater our longevity,
Yeah.
the more our social economics improves and whatnot, then we can do something about it. No, that was not the projection. The projection was, no matter how much money, no matter how much education, you're going to be dying in greater and greater numbers. Why? Because we've instituted a program called Global 2000, which was to eliminate 3.5 billion people from the face of the earth. Because if Africans through Africa and Africans through the Americas and Africans through Central America and Africans through South America and then the East Indians and the Asians, if everybody's having babies the way they having babies, the world is going to be overcrowded by the year 2000. So we're going to implement Global 2000 to eliminate 3.5 billion people from the face of the earth. Now, who is that? Those who are of African heritage, origin, background, and concern. And here we are, 24 years past their intent of 2000. And now the projection has been to literally kill everybody else and leave about 500 million. And when there are 370 million people just on the North American continent, then 130 more million people throughout the world. I'm like, who are you all to think that you have that kind of right?
Yeah.
But the issue for us is coming to a point in place where we realize that there is an agenda to phase our lineages out of existence. And no matter how much money you have, no matter how much success you have, no matter how much proficiency that you've gained in your arts and in your entertainment and whatever you become proficient in, the issue is that there is no success you can have if you leave here as a dead person. Because death, as we were told, is the wages of sin.
Wow.
Right? We've heard that.
Definitely have heard that.
Okay, so
it will make you think people will be trying to stay alive.
Be in the fullness of the who and the whos that we each are as these living, loving, intelligent, potent, and immortal points of an absolute and supreme intelligence that is so intelligent that it has gifted itself to absolutely everything, everywhere, everybody. Nobody is without it. Everybody has it. But because of the defilement of the blood, then people can't respect themselves.
They can't even think straight. You were saying something about agenda, and that word pops up a lot in a lot of the conversations that I see happening across the internet. And, you know, for some reason, I just zone in on the people that don't get it, right? Mm-hmm. I'm not the person to explain. It's like once I receive information, it's like that makes sense. I do my best to embody it. I'm not the teacher as you are. How do you explain to people that really want to understand this agenda and who's behind it? Because sometimes you'll be like, who is they? Who are the elites? Who is the, you know?
But the issue is this: Bill Gates has not been quiet about his agenda.
Yet
I'm
people
just saying,
still are like,
right. So funding the World Health Organization, the Center for Disease Creation or Control. You understand? I'm just saying is that money here in America makes you seem like God, that you got more power and authority than God. And I'm saying, no, there is absolute law that governs existence, and we're having to align ourselves with the laws in order to have leverage. So, yes, we can talk about they. The issue is, why are you killing yourself? Why are you feeling entitled to be smoking and drinking and anesthetizing and inebriating and serving your children the rot of pigs and cows and turkeys and hot pockets and this and that? Why are we in a place and space where we don't have the sense enough, the love enough, the light enough to knock, ask, seek, and question when you see your children blowing up? You understand? When you having to take your husband to have his legs cut off because of all of this. And I'm just saying, no, we as women of all generations have to come to a point and place where we are here to serve and exalt life, regardless of they, but particularly because of they. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now, if you grew up with breakfast cereals, cow's milk, hot dogs, hamburgers, all of this, and the body needs to be cleansed. Under this whole thing with veganism and vegetarianism. So yes, I changed my diet when I was in college. It seemed to be the right thing to do. Why? Because I asked. When they were not able to give me any answers, then I went directly to God. Show me what this is. We were told to ask. We were told to knock. And what I realized is that I was taken right back to being 7, not wanting to eat the meat, throwing the alcohol away, the cigarettes away. But here, 12 and a half years later, I'm smoking, I'm drinking, I'm still eating the meat. But whose businesses are these? They're not our businesses. They're found on every corner across and down the street and in the basement of every church. So I went on a personal economic boycott. I'm not giving motherfuckers another goddamn dime. And I went from eating absolutely everything to having fruit in the morning and huge salads in the evening as a 20-year-old.
How did you change? How did your body change?
I went from 127 pounds to 103 in less than 45 days with no additional exercise. My mind opened up. I did not have to labor over my books. I could hear what was being said. I could hear what was not being said. I could read between the lines. I could bring my professors to their freaking knees. I could form the critical questions. So the issue for us is realizing as long as you stay on meat, dairy, eggs, chicken, and fish, even though you're matriculating, you're not going to be able to make sense of it. You understand? And this is how we've got all these degreed doctors, all these degreed surgeons, all these degreed lawyers, all these degreed, and still coming down with cancer, heart disease, diabetes, obesity, and this and that and the other, because you have been fed garbage all of your life. You have been disregarded, disrespected as an intelligence of existence, and you have been treated as if you were less than human. And you maintain a system.
People are very, very loyal to those degrees and what they've been taught. I guess it goes right along with their self-worth. Like if they don't have their degree, then who are they?
I know, but see, this is the issue too, is realizing that our matriculating under a people who hate you is no empowerment. Are they really trying to empower you to free you?
Right.
No, you become cogs in the wheel of oppression and capitalism and whatnot, and you are the one who has a nutrition degree in the hospitals feeding people the same garbage that made them sick in the first place after their surgeries.
The McDonald's in the hospitals.
You're the one who are in the school cafeterias making sure that our children are getting processed meat and cheese and this and that with your nutrition degree. And so at this particular point in juncture, I'm saying, no, we have the responsibility to care, to be in a place and space where we are the answer and we are the solution.
We are the answer. We are the solution.
You understand? Because the one thing I know, you get what you ask for, you get what you apply yourself to. Now, the work that I do in terms of helping people to clear, cleanse, consecrate, purify, reverse the diseases and whatnot that I've been doing for over 20 some years. And being on radio for 24 years. After having a strict vegetarian restaurant, customer dormant boutique, and
You also had a restaurant.
right. And from 94 to 99, Mother Earth's adornments for the whole being, body, heart, mind, soul, and more. And little 5 points.
Why did you?
And so the issue is this, is that success in business is not success in life.
Say it again.
You understand? Success in business is not success in life. And why am I going to bend over backwards to make sure that you can get the best organic this, that, and the other when you're going to go and eat at Zesto's or go and eat at McDonald's on another day?
Yeah.
You understand? So people are doing veganism and vegetarian as novelty. It's that they're patting themselves on the back and say, oh, well, I'm doing good. I'm just eating meat
Mondays
2 or 3 times. Exactly.
And Tuesdays. I hear that a lot.
Right.
Yeah.
But then nobody is really making a proper estimation and guesstimation as to the accumulation of nitrates, nitrites, BHA, BHT, artificial colors, artificial flavors that's already in your system from 10, 15, 20, 30, 40, 50 years of the standard American diet. The standard American diet is cancer. The standard American diet is heart disease. The standard American diet is diabetes. The standard American diet is every disease that we're dying from.
So true.
So,
I mean, it's spelled out sad. You would think someone would. A lot of things are spelled out right in front of our face.
and because of our behavior modification in that we're not knocking, asking, and seeking. We're just taking whatever anybody says. If it's in the book, you understand? And so when people say, well, I did my research, and my research is saying that, you can't be healthy as a vegan unless you have vitamin B12, and vitamin B12 is coming from the gut of an animal. It's a bacteria. It's a vitamin formed by a bacteria in the gut of a cow or somebody. And I'm like, so how you going to get that? How would you get that naturally? Mm-hmm. You understand?
Yeah.
But we're not thinking. Because if we were told not to kill as foundation, then how you going to get it from the gut of an animal?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And if the animal's gut is that intelligent to produce what it needs, and why is ours not?
It is.
So I'm really advocating for us to realize that there is no success that we can properly really have in this life where we have not committed to the laws that govern us. And people say, well, what are those laws? Self-preservation is the first law. That means you can't be comfortable killing yourself and think that you don't deserve to die.
Self-preservation. Whew. And you know what? It's crazy that we've never taught self-preservation. Ever.
Right. And you've never been taught how to really facilitate optimum cellular functioning. We were taught the 4 food groups, but who started that? The United Dairy Council started petitioning in public schools in 1906 that milk and dairy were a part of a healthy diet. All right. And so I'm just saying, we did everything that these people said to do, and look at us, we're a freaking mess.
A mess.
So at this particular point, particularly you all who are 20, 30, 40, 45, 50, I don't care what generation you're in, there is no way that you can truly experience the fullness of the depth of your care, your love, your beauty, your gifts, your talents, your skills, your abilities, nothing as long as your blood is defiled. And this is the issue in terms of the hair not growing, the nails not growing. We got to have all of the weave. We got to have all of this. We got to have all the lashes. We got to have all of the makeup and this and that, because we literally are nutritionally starving because we're not getting the minerals that our cells require in order to, one, facilitate the alkalization that is necessary for cellular repair, regeneration, rejuvenation.
So that's what it comes down to, that when people talk about, oh, your body, some people say, oh, your body's supposed to heal itself, so I can eat what I want, it's going to do what it needs to do. But not if you're not doing what you need to do to keep it at the optimal.
Oh, and to put it at a point where it can be optimal, because we've never gotten it.
Yeah.
And that's the real tragedy and travesty of being in a system of oppression. That you have been given garbage your entire life. You were fed like kids, not nourished and nurtured as intelligent beings that were destined to become mothers and fathers and grandmothers and grandfathers and great-grandmothers and great-grandfathers. So abortion has become the number one killer of us as a people. Now, what is purpose? Purpose is in ensuring the continuation, the exaltation, and the progression of the lineage. But abortion is the number one killer of us as a people. We're aborting more babies than people are dying from heart disease, cancer, this, that, and the other. Why is that? Now, I'm asking the brothers who are off into the bashing of the homosexual. I say, are the homosexuals the ones aborting all these babies? Your heterosexuality is neither here nor there if you have no real love, reverence, and regard for who and what you really are. And to be in a system that supports you in being inebriated, intoxicated, and taking so much of your life fluid, putting it in a sheath. You meet someone you don't know nothing about, leave so much of yourself with it, never look back, or ejaculate your life currency into a sheath and flush it down the freaking toilet. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
we do not have the value for ourselves that we should have, realizing we will never have anything greater than ourselves. Our cars are not greater than ourselves. We're not going to put canola oil where our motor oil goes in our vehicles. We're not going to put sugar in the gas tank. You're not going to let the shrimp or the crab or the fish, the salmon or the cow or the pig or any of them ride in the front, the back seat, or be stuffed under the seat of your car for days at a time. I'm just saying. So, but this is what's stuck in these bodies. So we'll wash and cleanse our mouths. We'll bathe, swab our ears, and then do nothing to cleanse internally. But that's good hygiene in America.
Yeah.
And I'm saying at this particular point in time, when you have the desire to walk in the fullness of who and whose you are as this point of the presence of this absolute and supreme intelligence, then you have to come to a point where you will honor yourself, your life, your bloodstream, as a way to be in obeyance and obedience with the laws that we were given in terms of loving this absolute and supreme intelligence that is beating our hearts and breathing us with our whole body, heart, mind, with all of our might. So therefore, boycotting the death industries by exalting a full effort in our living, in our clearing, cleansing, purifying, consecrating, repentance, realigning, revivifying the ones that we are, because this is the true success in being, is to walk in the greatness of who you are, to the glory of the ones through whom you've come, laying and securing the foundation for those who have come with you, through you, and those who've yet to come. But if you have no regard for yourself, if you have no respect for yourself, if you do not respect the perfect and divine functioning of your body, your heart, your mind, your spirit, and you would rather anesthetize, inebriate, intoxicate, vaccinate, and kill your children, then you're going to suffer.
You said the laws of nature, and the first one is self-preservation. What's the next one?
The issue is understanding the law of sowing and reaping. You get what you apply yourself to. You get what you think about. Good, bad, ugly, or otherwise. We are intelligences of existence, and we are imprinting our desires, our thoughts upon this air thing that is nothing but intelligence of existence. So everything that we see is a manifestation of a thought. Everybody's intelligent. We're in a sea of nothing but consciousness and intelligence. So the wino will want more wine. The crack addict will want more crack. The prostitute will want another John. Everybody gets what they want. They keep that going. And I'm just saying, no, let's really shift and care to have a fullness of desire for the wealth and the beauty and the depth of ourselves. We get what we ask for.
We do.
We get what we apply ourselves to.
Yeah.
So whatever the conditions are in terms of the acne, the AIDS, the boils, the bumps, the asthma, I don't care what the issue is, the body needs cleansing. The cells need nourishing. You have to open up, bust up that mucus so that you can get real nutrient absorption with our herbal teas and whatnot, and fresh fruit and vegetation. All the rest of it is a non-essential. You don't really have to have it. And we have those ones who've already proven that as intelligences of existence immersed in nothing but the intelligence of existence, you really don't have to have any of that shit that they call food. Food
That they call food.
Right. Food is oppressive. So we're making a discernment between fueling the body and feeding the body. Fueling the body means that as breatharian, you have to be oxygenating. We're breathing. So we become more conscientious about the breath, right? Our bodies are 80% water, like the earth is 80% water. 80% of our nutrition should be coming from water-based things. That's our herbal teas, our fresh fruit, our leafy greens. Things with seed, things that grow above ground.
Things that grow above ground.
Right, that don't have the
not
mucus.
the root and starchy stuff.
Right, because what we're trying to do now is put the body in a place where it can do what it does, which is to cleanse and release the nitrates, BHA, BHT, all of the chemicals. But that's why we bring the clay into the system. Now, many who grew up in the South, in Alabama, Mississippi, Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, we grew up having a desire for chalk, cornstarch, ice, dirt, mud pies, whatever. The earth is the natural detoxifier for the chemicals. So we're bringing that into the system to pull and loosen. It also mineralizes. It also alkalizes. It's the alkalization of the body that facilitates consistent cellular repair, regeneration, rejuvenation. All right, so if all you're eating is meat, dairy, eggs, chicken, and fish, and then you smoke and you drink, then you're creating all this acidity, which is why they're having the knee replacement surgeries, the hip replacement surgeries,
It's just acid in your body, in your joints, in your
right.
blood.
And then the proliferation of the worms, the organisms, and the parasites, and their waste. And then they are progenitors of their lineages, of their species, so they're laying eggs also. So
They're intelligent. They're going to fight for themselves.
Absolutely intelligent. And
Wow.
so our care to really show up and show out, particularly as women, particularly as mothers, as daughters, as granddaughters, as grandmothers, as great-granddaughters, as great-grandmothers. Our time is now.
If I'm not like you in the sense of how I haven't done the kind of extensive research, kind of maybe, and you don't know how to really teach. Sometimes I get frustrated as I'm trying to explain things. What is the best thing you think that I could do for people that I love, that I want to inspire, or I guess help to see how they can be better?
Well, I think that doing the protocols, getting really activated, because there are many people doing herbs. I don't think we're doing enough. All right? Because I've seen so many vegan vegetarians pass away from uterine cancer, cervical cancer, ovarian cancer, respiratory disease, and prostate, and this and that. Not because they weren't taking herbs, because nobody made a proper estimation and guesstimation as to how much chemical was still in the system. And we opted for a vegan form of the same stuff that we grew up eating. So instead of having Aunt Jemima and Mrs. Butterworth, we were having buckwheat, whole wheat, and pure maple syrup pancakes.
Got it.
Or spelt pancakes.
Yeah.
Or whatever. It's still acid. It's still mucus. So the body is trying to cleanse first thing in the day. So my answer to you is do the work.
Okay.
Pray without ceasing. Love God with your whole body, heart, mind, with all of your might. You understand? Don't be afraid to be in a place where you are literally convicted and committed to walking the face of this earth as one of the most dynamic women on the face of the planet. Why? Because it's needed. You understand? I don't do any of the things that I do just because it's fun and it's what I care. No, it's necessary. You understand? When I was at the University of Florida, I after changing my diet, and I was president of my chapter of the Deltas at the time, right? And everybody's watching this transformation. And I organized an organization of the 22 black organizations on the University of Florida campus. University of Florida at that time, 30,000 students, 1,500 were black. I was organized for the Black Student Union, right? And I realized that we had no Black students in student government. So I ran for a seat in student government. Not because I was politically oriented. I just realized that these ones who were in student government at the University of Florida would be in the House of Congress and senators and legislators later on, because this is the programming.
Yeah.
And they didn't know anything about anything then. They ain't gonna know nothing about nothing now. And that's what we're singing, is that there is no real government here. Mm-hmm. There is no government when there is no commitment to the laws and the responsibility that we have in law to love, to nourish, to nurture, to strengthen, to support life. You understand?
To support
Government should be connected to the whole of existence and the government of the whole in making people whole, not in creating a lie of scarcity and creating all of this divisiveness and marginalization and anesthetization and inebriation and intoxication and hurting everybody like cash cows in multi-trillion-dollar business of sickness, illness, disease, and death. The insurance companies are like the slave auctioneers at this particular point. You understand? So at this place where we are, to realize that we can bypass the bull. We can bypass it, but we have to cleanse. There is only the order of existence. Everything exalts a full effort in its living. The earth provides us everything that we require. You understand? The copper, the brass, the diamonds, everything comes from the earth. And what do we know? Everything that came from the earth is going to stay with the earth. We will not. What we take with us will be the degrees of self-realization, self-actualization, and harmonization with the laws of existence that allowed us to really consciously infuse the waters of ourselves with the truth of who we are as conscious immortals, so that we were able to leave the planet. We mastered ourselves. We self-realized, we self-actualized, we harmonized with the will of existence and the perpetuation of life itself. That's what we should be doing.
Yeah. When you spoke about when you were in college and how you ran for student government, and because you realized that there was no one like you there. What do you think about in today's world where people are like joining the systems? They're like, to make a change, like, and then some people are like, we'll build our own table, or we need to be at these meetings so that we can make a change. And my interpretation is like, it all just needs to be shut down. Like, how are you going to make a change within something that is just so
rotten,
broken? Yeah. And it has so many legs into everything that we can even imagine.
Right.
Like, what do you suggest to those people that are leading with that kind of
well, the
intention?
issue is, what are you eating? What are you eating? What do you eat? Because if you eat meat, dairy, eggs, chicken, fish, flesh, flour, if you can't change what's going on with you, you'll never be able to change anything outside of yourself, particularly in a system that is profiting off the degradation, the violation, the inebriation, the intoxication, and the sickness, illness, the dis-ease mentality of the people. The system profits. You understand? So if I had not changed my diet, and I had decided to get my master's degree and my PhD in counseling psychology or whatever, right? Then I would have all the credentials. But I'd probably not even be alive.
Yeah.
Because of the accumulation of meat, dairy, eggs, chicken, and fish. That's what's creating all of the obesity. But the obesity is creating the heart disease, right? And people say, well, I had a heart attack. No, you were attacking your heart every time you put a piece of dead animal in your body. Okay, so no, what are you eating? If you are not living to live harmoniously with the laws that govern your being, then there's no shift, there's no change that you can make in a system that is lawless. Now, I'll put it this way. If you're really about making changes, and do this inner work, and align yourself with the will of God, the light of God, the truth of God, the peace of God, the poise of God, the power of God, the intelligence, the wisdom, the potency, the purpose of God. Because that is where the real success and triumph and victory actually is. You understand? When I was a little girl, they had the Battle Hymn of the Republic when we used to have our yearly annual recitals and whatnot. And my sister was a very, very powerful vocalist, and she would do these solos. And it would be, mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord. So I'm realizing here I am, 50 some years later. And not only do my eyes see the glory of the coming of the Lord, I am the evidence of it. I have the capacity and have been participating with it. And we can. We have the responsibility of being the evidence of the emergence of the kingdoms and queendoms of God rising.
So when you say the coming of the Lord, it's not necessarily like this day when the Lord returns to.
We already
say,
here.
We're here.
We are already here.
We're here.
It's the fulfillment of the law. It is the fulfillment of law. You murderers, liars, and thieves, your death is coming. There is no way that you can qualify for continuance in existence when you had no commitment to the laws that govern. Our blackness is not our salvation. We have to be cleansed from being in violation. And so our coming to this place and space where we are all right with being all right, we're all right with the clearing, the cleansing, the purification, we're all right. We're taking leadership in light, because the light is the only victory possible over all of what we're seeing. You understand?
Yeah.
The intention of the system was to have us enslaved to whatever appetite, desire, lust, or passion that we would cultivate. Now you're seeing all of these smoke shops and vape shops and whatnot opening up and people going in, but the lungs are the organ of the spirit. So you got multi-trillion-dollar business to undermine your capacity.
You said the lungs are the
organ of the spirit.
And so what does that really mean?
That you have to breathe. It is your respiration. Excuse me. It is your respiration. The respiriting of the body. So when I would go to the cemetery as a little girl, and I see the cross, and I see the name, and I see the date, and I see the line, I see the other date. The first date is when the spirit entered the body, or when they took their first breath. Or the spirit entered the world. The line, and then you have the other date, where the spirit had exited the body, or they took their last breath, or they died. The line constitutes the life. So you had the entering of the spirit, the exiting of the spirit, and then the respiriting. That was the breathing. It is the breath. Can you breathe without your lungs? Can you breathe without your sinuses? I'm just saying, we are perfectly and divinely designed.
You were saying something earlier about prayer, and you pray all the time. There's no specific way to do it. You're just in communication with God, with the infinite intelligence. For us, is our body, are our cells, is our blood listening to us?
Somebody called my radio program one night years ago, and they said, well, who do you pray to, sister? I said, well, before I could even verbalize it, my cells receive it. And that's what we're not realizing. We were told through fasting and prayer, the desires of your heart will be granted unto you. The fasting is doing without food, but it's also hydration, because water is the medium of intelligence. It holds frequency and vibration. So water is programmable. But if your body is 80% garbage, then you don't have the magnetism, you don't have the capacity to really even have the levity or the exalted thought to infuse into your cells for an exalted walk. But that praying without ceasing. And so people whose bodies have been filled to overflowing with alcohol, tobacco, crack, whatever, they get to a point where every atom and every cell of their being is completely immersed in their desire for salvation. It's completely immersed in their desire for change, completely immersed in their wanting to be saved from themselves. I'm just saying, but then they get the frequency of energy of that, because that power that we have is still with us, regardless. But let's be intentional about our programming, reprogramming. And that's why I give the affirmations. You don't just get the clay, you don't just get the herbs, you get the enema bag, you get the affirmations, you get the cosmic I am, you get audio files, you get the breath meditation, you get a whole protocol for literally holistically stepping into the greatness of who you are through cellular liberation and reprogramming. The methodology of our oppression has been to oppress our cellular functioning. So the methodology of our liberation has to happen at the cellular level. A boycott of the death industries is the natural result from millions of us exalting a full effort in our living, our loving, our clearing, our purification, our realignment, our reattunement, our recentering, our reclaiming the divinity, the sanctity, and the sacredness of our lives.
What do you ever try to soften your message in the ways of, making it easier for people to?
It just depends on who I'm speaking with.
Okay,
but the issue is because life is not softening this.
Yeah.
Your cancer, your heart disease, your diabetes, your can't get up the steps and feeling like you're going to fall out, your seizures, and you understand? So now, why am I going to walk soft when life is going to snap and beat you? You understand? I mean, the violation.
Yeah.
No, I want you to get it. I want you to get it.
Yeah.
You understand? So no, the truth is the truth. We were told to know the truth, and the truth would make us free. We have been ingesting all of the lies. You understand? But that's what we were told too. You understand that they would make the truth seem like the lie, and the lie seem like the truth, and the people are now so confused. And I'm saying, no, these people don't beat your heart and they don't breathe you.
Yeah.
You understand? So no, there is that which beats your heart and breathes you. Commit to it.
Commit to it.
Commit to life. Commit to being in the integrity of who you are. Commit to realizing that your inheritance is not by virtue of you're waiting for your mom and them to die. Your inheritance is already in you. It's in your DNA. But you're on a DNA lockdown with the cellular oppression. So the cellular liberation, the revitalization allows you to invoke and call forth the greatness of your lineages to come pouring forward in your life as your gift. When I was a little girl, I couldn't imagine what I would do to generate money. I saw that money was a big thing. Now I couldn't figure out what I'm going to do to generate money. I just knew I didn't want to do nothing that my people did. I didn't want to teach. I didn't want to preach. I didn't want to do anything. I do everything that they do. You understand?
Wow, yeah.
I'm just doing it at a different level.
Yeah.
Why? Because I gave up the meat, the dairy, the eggs, the chicken, the fish, the alcohol, tobacco, the sugar, and all of that.
Yeah.
All right. But that also is a result of my commitments that I made at 20. Let me live to make a difference in this world, to let me not live at all. I just cannot be working every day for the next 50, 60 years for $1, trading men like you trade shoes and watching everybody die. And I have no power, no potency to do anything about it.
Speaking of that, watching everyone die, in the sense of, you are that person that is wanting to help people save themselves. Is there anything that you do to, like, are you ever feeling hurt or sad or just feeling the pain of watching people suffer so much?
That's why I don't go anywhere.
Okay.
That's
real.
I don't go
That's
many
real.
places. I don't go many places. I really don't.
Because
I kind of live in it's hard.
It's hard.
Right. And I'm not going to be in a place where I'm going to work the crowd. Mm-hmm. And I'm just going to go out and just be passing out my information, indiscriminately to people and whatnot because I see that you need some help. No, and so yeah, it is heart-wrenching. Mm-hmm. And particularly to see our families and people that we love deteriorate and pass away, breast cancer, this, that, and the other.
I know.
And so, but the reality of it is that in love, you have to detach. Because we weren't told to love somebody more than you love yourself. You weren't told to love your mama and your daddy with your whole body, heart, mind, with all your might. They are the vehicles through whom you've come, but they don't beat your heart and they don't breathe you.
Yeah.
You understand? So no, in my estimation, in terms of how I live without such sense of responsibility to do for people what they're not willing to do for themselves, or to try to break down doors to get people to hear me, or I'm not trying to do any of that.
You let people come to you when they're ready.
If they reach for me, then I'm going to be there.
Yeah.
You understand? And even on my radio show, I say, look, you don't have to listen. You could turn me off at any given point in time. I really don't care. Okay? But for those who are hearing me, don't just hear me. Make the commitments to that which is beating your heart and breathing you. You understand? Because what I see is that those who work the program, those who work the protocols, those who make the commitments, those who clear, cleanse, consecrate, purify, their lives open up and they become more than what they could have imagined. And those who don't, generally don't progress. They could still do things in a system of capitalization. They could still work. They could still, but they do not survive it. They die. And I have a whole folder of obituaries and people that I've, I was standing at the corner at Piedmont and Cheshire Bridge after taking my car to the shop. And I just got a whole wave of people who I've been connected to over the years who passed away, from Mrs. King to Dr. Sabi to Dyla Africa to Hugh Lovell, to all of these ones, my teacher, Josiah Oswago, all of these ones who are no longer present. And I know one day I will have to leave. But while I'm here, I'm going to do everything I possibly can to ensure that you all get what you require in order to fulfill destiny. But destiny is the kingdoms and queendoms of God emerged upon the planet. That's destiny. That's success. Not being successful capitalists when capitalism requires slaves. It's not about being rich. There is no richness that is greater than life itself.
I'll tell you that.
You can put all the money that's ever been printed, all the coin that's ever been minted. It doesn't have the value of one beat of our heart or one breath that we take. What I'm asking us to do is to remember that we are the gift. Life is the blessing. Our life currency is the richness. We have the capacity to increase it, magnetize it, amplify it, expand it. We could be as rich as we want to be, but you cannot be a detriment to yourself and survive it. You cannot be a detriment to your people and survive it. You cannot kill and undermine your children or any children and survive it.
Yeah. That's powerful.
The exhalation.
I'm so grateful. I'm so honored that it was even pressed upon me to discover you, to be one of the people that asked to call you and be honest and say, I'm a little bit nervous. And then for you to speak life into it all. I'm so honored. And thank you. I want you to speak to that camera and just tell our audience where they can find you, your offerings, any last message that you want to give them.
Thank you. You can reach me at my number for life support is 678-760-9299. I do not have a website that just has products where you can go and buy products. That is not what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to definitely create the connectedness between those of us who are willing, ready, and eager to join the army of God, to really be in a place and space where we bring these people to their freaking knees. You can find me on Instagram at The Real Adama Speaks, YouTube Adama Speaks, Spotify Adama Speaks, or you can come in the Atlanta area to Mother Earth's Blessing Holistic Life Center at 1830 Cheshire Bridge Road, Atlanta 30324. And I am always on air every Thursday night, midnight to 3 a.m. at www.wrfg.org from midnight to 3 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. There are archives, and you can always also get some of my monologues and content from bbsradio.com/Adama Speaks. Otherwise, just put Adama Speaks into Google or Yahoo or whatever, but speak to me directly and get to a point and place where you are all right with being poured into. You're all right with having someone tell you that you are one of the brightest stars in this galaxy, and I'm just here to make sure that you shine. It's our time to rise. On behalf of the lineages through whom we've come, on behalf of those who could not make it across that middle passage, on behalf of all of those who are marginalized, anesthetized, inebriated, who've come and gone too soon, the ones that we didn't allow to come, let us rise, because it is our time. I love you with the perfect love. Continue to rejoice in the blessedness of your being and be the blessing you are. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you guys for tuning in. You might need to watch this again with the dictionary. But thank you. Thank you so much for being here. I'll see you guys next time.